Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. I am here with a layout process video for you as part of two group hops. The final Friday of the month is the Mixed Media Mayhem Community Hop, and they always start their hop with a sketch, and this time it is from Paige Evans. We'll talk more about that in a minute. I'm also participating in the Iron Crafter Challenge, featuring a particular product, which this time around happens to be wood veneer. All right, so I was definitely inspired by that layered star in our sketch, and I am going to take that in the direction of layered hexagons, because as I started thinking about the layered star, I was trying to come up in my mind with what layered dies I had, nested dies, and I have not used this hexagon set yet. And when I started thinking about hexagons, I started thinking about bees, and then I remembered this story that I haven't told yet about finding a bumblebee nest in our yard. So that is the story I'm going to tell, and I have pulled out my counterfeit kit for the month of May. I'm losing track of the months. Actually, I had like 5 page kits from this month, so this is a great project for using up leftover scraps from all of those page kits that I've already made projects out of. And I am going to do that with my hexagon dies. I'm going to find the sizes of papers that will fit my dies, and knowing that I need to get 3 big hexagons, I need a bigger piece of paper for that, and so on and so forth. So I took out all my scraps, kind of put them in order of size, and then chose papers that could have contrast from each other to create the layered hexagons that you see there on the right. And with just random scraps that didn't have enough to do any of that with, I created more hexagons on the left for my focal photo. So I am going to layer that up in a different way so that it has the focus there. And I definitely chose yellow as part of my color scheme and hearts. And for my mixed media portion, I'm going to do a couple of things, and it's not complicated stuff. First I'm setting up my main focal photo there so that I can take it out of the way as a whole entire group and not have to worry about those pieces anymore. So my mixed media is not going to be complicated this month. I'm doing a little bit of ink blending through a stencil with pigment ink, and I will also be doing a bit of gold spatters on here. Now, the story is about bumblebees, which don't make honey, but I am going to pick up on that kind of honey idea here with the yellow and the gold spatters and whatnot. And of course, this honeycomb stencil. They're high. It's not really a hive exactly, kind of more of a nest. They're not the same kind of social hive animals that honeybees are, but their nests are very kind of gross, which you'll see come up in my titling and journaling, but also really fascinating at the same time. So anyway, I wanted to pick up on more of that classical bee motif there with my stenciling and spattering. Now I'm working on, I believe this paper is by Ella and Vive. I think that's how you say it. And it has a bit of a coating to it. So all my mixed media did take a very long time to dry, and I even had a heat tool, and it still took a really long time to dry. So even though I thought I was going to do this easy mixed media that would help me move on quickly, it did not. And actually, I had to do this layout over a couple of days, both because of my own personal timing, but because of this drying that needed to happen in between. And that will come up a little bit later when I talk about the wood veneer portion of this. So at any rate, I did make my focal photo down towards the bottom of the page so that I would have room on that upper part of the page to create my title. And these alpha sets I used in a video earlier this week because it was a surprise product from my the project that I do called Mystery Box Monday. If you don't watch those, I pull out some mystery items and see what I can create with them. And this time around, it was a pretty easy project because I had some lovely supplies in there, including this alphabet set. And because I like it so much, I am putting it to use today too. All right, I have gotten my subtitle going on along the right-hand side of the page that says way cool, but also pretty gross, because I had all of these mixed feelings when I discovered this nest, which we found we had replaced the carpet in our house a while back and had the pile of carpeting sitting out in the yard for a while before we were able to haul it off to the dump. And as we were starting to go through that pile, as I was pulling pieces out, I opened up some carpeting, and there was the bumblebee nest right there. And I am trying to make my yard a place for sharing with the wildlife, and so I didn't want to harm this nest. So I very carefully moved the nest with a shovel to another location, and I'm glad that I found it along the way of cleaning up this mess in our yard. And they did abandon the nest, shortly afterwards, but at least they survived, and hopefully they took all of their resources with them. So I have got most of the things done on this page, but alphabets these days are driving me crazy, and they are just not staying glued down. Even these thin kind of cardstocky paper-y alphabets are just not staying glued down. So I tend to lift things up with a pair of tweezers and add at least a touch of glue under one end of these alphas. So I have moved on to a little bit of extra embellishing, and by this point in the process, because I had to do this over multiple days in small chunks of time for my schedule, I had kind of forgotten that wood veneer was a focal product for the Iron Crafter Challenge. Now you can see I do have wood veneer on my table along with my other embellishments, and I'm creating just a few small patches of other embellishments because I feel like the hexagons themselves are good embellishing and that this layout doesn't need a whole bunch of other stuff. So with that wood veneer, I end up just using it in small spots around these little tabs that I'm creating. These are just cut apart tabs from, I can't remember where they're from. And I'm stamping a little bee on there, and then I am adding some enamel dots and those wood veneer hearts. So I wish that I had realized earlier that I needed to focus on the wood veneer, but it's there. So I'm going to have to be good with that. You can see that I put my journaling around the outside edge of this layout because there wasn't a lot of room around, and I knew as I was laying out this design that there wasn't going to be a lot of room around. So I had planned to leave enough space between my elements and the edge of the page so that I could get that journaling on there. And I like how that is both a framing element to this layout as well as gets my journaling on there. So I will leave you with a couple of these close-up photos. I want to thank you for watching, and remember that because I'm participating in 2 hops, there's a whole list of other crafters down below that are participating in one or the other, or even like me, both of these hops. And I encourage you to go check out their work and leave them some love on their projects as well. That is it for me for May. And so I will be back on June 1st with my kit build for June. Until then, have an artful day.